So, good morning, everyone. My name is Dixie Patrick, and I am the Executive Director of the Austin Independent Business Alliance, and this is our Tuesdays in June coffee chat. So thank you for the people who could join us live. Thank you guys for watching it recorded later, what we're going over. I neglected to mention this in the first couple of chats, but I was wanting everyone to drink local coffee while we did this. Like the idea of this, that we do it in person, right? And we can. And we have fantastic support from Texas Coffee Traders, which is a fantastic little coffee shop, and they make the best coffee or whatever. And also it's like in a warehouse over on the east side, like it's very awesome. So that's what I'm drinking. That's my local coffee that I drink. I can't remember which one it is, but they are awesome. And I'm drinking it out of my coffee cup with local business stickers all over it. So I feel like I'm nailing it in that coffee regard. When I'm able to get out a little more and I'm not doing support for elderly relatives, I hope to try a bunch of different ones and maybe do it. Oh, you've got yours in a fancy little cup. What's that?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The last time I pulled up my Starbucks cup and they said, that's not local.
Yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you.
What about it? Is it that it's not local? If I don't understand, they're in Austin, they pay taxes, they
it's true.
Employ everyone. I don't get it.
Yeah, so there's definitely room in the world, I think, in the economy for all different types of businesses. What AIBA does, and Luck as an extension, is we support locally independently owned businesses. And the difference, there's a lot of differences, but one of the differences is how, just statistically speaking, how locally owned businesses interact with the community is different from how a larger corporation like Starbucks does. They do lots of great things. They're very, they have a great reputation for employee relations, all of that stuff. But what locally owned businesses do is they put, of every dollar that's spent at a locally owned business, 60% of it goes back into the local community. And that's through all kinds of things. That's because I'm going to take that and I'm going to spend that dollar at, like if I'm a business owner and you pay me and I take that dollar, I'm going to spend that dollar at other local places. I'm going to have buy a dance class for my kid, or I'm going to buy my falafel at the place down the street, or my masseuse is going to be there. So that's one of the differences. There's a series of other things, and maybe I'll pull up that graphic at the end of the meeting, if I can find it real quick, that the differences of how local businesses work. There's also a big cultural difference between a local independently owned business and an organization like Starbucks. So the difference between what it's like, what it feels like, and what attracts people to live and work and come and visit Austin is not the Starbucks, that, not to pick on Starbucks, but not the Starbucks that they can visit. And it's kind of, Starbucks is not a franchise, but Starbucks is the same Starbucks, whether you're in the middle of Louisiana or you're in the middle of Wisconsin. But when they come here, Texas Coffee Traders, for example, there is no other Texas Coffee Traders. There's no other warehouse where you can see them roasting the beans in the back, and they've got their How You Bean Man t-shirts, and they're also doing things, in particular at Texas Coffee Traders, where they actually go and visit the places where the coffee beans are being grown. So they're intimately involved in the whole supply chain and making sure that they're doing things that are, in line with their kind of ethical ideas of how the world should work. So, and a larger company just can't do those kinds of things. It's a good question, though.
Well, they can, but they usually don't.
Yeah, that's true. And they'll always do them differently, right? The difference between being a multi-billion-dollar company and being a small independently owned company it just is. It exists. But here's what I'll do, Ben, just for you, so you don't get chided about your Starbucks coffee cup anymore. I'm going to send you a Power of Local coffee cup.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. It's a little silver tumbler. They're amazing. You'll be able to use it. And then next time somebody says, where'd you get that coffee cup? You can tell them that we gave it to you.
Thank you. And that's a great explanation for it. Yeah. And I'm glad that you told me, because I didn't know. And I didn't know how to respond.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Well, good. And I'll definitely, when I send it, I'll share that graphic with you too, so you can help us kind of spread the gospel of local while you're out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I mentioned we had another topic online, but we're not going to do that because what we have to talk about today, and I spent 10 minutes chatting, I apologize. What we have to talk about today is there's quick overview. We're going to talk about funding again, which we've talked about every week. So the federal government has a new pocket of CARES funding, and that is going down to cities and counties, and the cities and counties are choosing how to spend that money. So we have these two big pockets of money. Travis County received, I think it was 61 million. The city of Austin received something million. I can't remember the final number. And then the two entities, the municipal entities, are deciding how to spend that money. And it is covering everything. It's covering testing, it's covering EMS, it's covering how we're responding on all the public health ways, how we're educating the public and doing all that stuff. It's individual income assistance, rent assistance, both for individual people and for landlords. So everything, and also included in that is assistance for small business. So since the beginning of the pandemic, AIBA and other IBAs around the country have been just beating the drum that we need grant funding for small business. It's amazing that we have these loan programs, but where we are right now and where we're looking at going as a small business owner, I can't really take on a bunch of debt right now and not know that I'm not going to have revenue to service that debt. I don't even know when I'm going to have revenue. I don't know when we're going to open back up. So we're going to talk about the move from stage 3 to stage 4 in just a second too, because that also happened. So the funding that we have right now. So Travis County is a little ahead. I think they got their funding earlier, and they're just a little bit ahead of the game. They've just released their program for small business grant funding, and they named their program Thrive. So I'm going to share my screen and show a quick flyer for them. So this is the program. This is the quick flyer about the program. They call the program Thrive. It's being administered by BCL of Texas, which is a member business here. So they're an amazing business, that does great things in their own right. And this is just another thing that they're doing. So quick overview of this. So this is going to be businesses who are within Travis County, but outside the Austin city limits. So we do have quite a few member businesses who are in Travis County that are outside Austin. So this is going to apply directly to you. The other thing we're looking at this for is the City of Austin program, which doesn't have a name yet, and we don't have all the details of yet. We're looking at this because the City of Austin program is probably going to be along these lines somehow, right? So I can't tell you that this is exactly what it's going to look like, but it's definitely going to be along these lines. And I'm going to send this information out and put it in the notes for the meeting. Local cut for Ben too. So you can look at it. So the eligibility requirements and the what documents do I need to get together so that I can be one of the first people to file. So real quick about the Thrive program, it's grants up to $40,000, which is also a number I've heard thrown around at the city. So it's for small businesses, again, within Travis County, but outside the City of Austin limits. It's for small business owners with fewer than 25 employees and less than $500,000 in annual net revenue. That's 2019. So if you had an amazing year in 2019, it might bump you above that, but 2019 is exactly what they're looking at. In terms of geographic placement, the outside the city but inside the county, that's your business address. So if your business is registered to your home office that is in Travis County, but you do business in Austin, it's where you're registered. If you have a little warehouse out in the county that's outside the city limits and that's where your business is registered, this is going to be the grant program for you, not the City of Austin one. And then the third large eligibility requirement is, were you financially impacted by the coronavirus pandemic, which in the kind of state that we're in, we just assume that everyone is impacted by it. There are some businesses who are fine, right? And so if you were not impacted by it, if you were running a web conferencing organization, for example, and all of a sudden you're doing just fine and everyone is wanting your product, then you wouldn't be eligible for this. So I mentioned it's BCL of Texas. So this is open right now, the pre-application eligibility questionnaire. Let's go ahead and pull that up. So they're doing, oops, let me go back to this. So they're doing a pre-application questionnaire, and then they include an application checklist. And then the period right here is pre-application is from June 15th to July 3rd. And then after pre-eligibility closes, qualifying businesses are going to be invited to submit an application. So you're going to pre-qualify, they're going to weed that out, and then you're going to be invited to submit an application. It seems a little bureaucratic. I know that they are setting up they're doing their best to set up these programs, knowing that everyone is going to apply right away. And so just to kind of build a big enough funnel that they can weed people out, people who are not eligible. So here is the pre-application eligibility questionnaire. Again, I'm going to send this out. It's got some basic stuff on here. They are collecting minority-owned business and women-owned business information. I don't know if eligibility items that go along with that. I think that's just to make sure that they're reaching out to the right people and connecting with those communities. There's some information about how did you find it. So are you outside Travis County but inside the city? You have 25 full-time equivalent. So if you have if you have 50 part-time workers and it's 25 full-time equivalent, you're still eligible for this. It is also available for self-employed contractors. I don't think that it is. So if I'm self-employed and I have an ITN, I have a DBA, I'm doing businesses myself, you are eligible. A sole proprietor is eligible. For gig workers, it's my understanding that it's not eligible, because a gig worker, someone who's, let's see, what is it like, who's working at, concerts and usually is a bartender at concerts, but it doesn't have a regular gig, that's covered by unemployment. So a lot of the information on here, the eligibility stuff, is if you already were able to get money somehow, so if you were able to cover yourself with unemployment, if you were able to cover yourself with PPP funds, then this is not, they're not wanting you to pay the same bill with that. So the revenue gate is $500,000. Again, that's on your 2019 business tax returns. Doesn't matter what happened in 2020 and doesn't happen what happened in 2018. They're only looking at that 1 year. You do have to have been in business by March 1st of 2019. So if your business was not incorporated until much later in 2019, even though you're having an issue now, this program is not going to be for you. Excuse me. And has your business been financially affected? Obviously, the answer to that has to be yes. Nonprofits are not included. I didn't notice that sexually oriented businesses are also not included. That's an interesting development. So anyway, these things here are not included. Pyramid concerns, pawn shops, gambling, real estate development, not real estate sales, and everything else. I know, Delee, that would be interesting. They're political or religious organizations. Obviously, if you're doing illegal activities, so for all of the drug dealers who decided to join us, you're not going to be able to get grant funding from Travis County. And then, do you have any tax liens or legal judgments? So that is, and you'll see that question is yes, but I have a payment plan, or yes, but I don't have a payment plan, or no, I don't have any. So it looks like there's some wiggle room there if you are working through a tax lien or a legal judgment. Okay, and then I'm just gonna skim through this and we're gonna get to the bottom here, and there's some eligibility, there's some required documents. So again, we're looking at this. This is if you're outside Austin, inside Travis County, this is going to apply to you. These are the documents that you need to pull together. But we're also, for the people who are in the city of Austin who are waiting anxiously for the City of Austin program to come out, this is a good list for you to start with. So if you can pull all this together, you're going to be in good stead for when it's time for you to apply, so you don't have to do it all at the last minute. So obviously a photo ID. I don't know how you're going to get one of those right now if you don't already have one. Your certificate of incorporation or formation, that's showing that you're formed there in Travis County. Your account status from the Texas Comptroller's Office, and there's a link there for how you can look that up. Your 2019 business tax returns, and it says all pages, no redactions. So your full return, not just your filing page. I know sometimes your CPA will just send you the page to sign. You need the full thing. Your 2019 personal tax returns for all owners that own 20% or more of the business. So if you're a sole proprietor, that's just you. If you are owning this with your family and it's you and your uncle and your cousin all own it, or if it's an even larger group, you're going to need those for all people, even people who are not maybe intimately involved in the day-to-day operations of the business. Your bank account statement for June of 2020, your W-9. There's a general disclosure that you're going to be asked to sign. The women-owned, minority-owned Section 3 businesses are here. You're going to be asked to provide the affidavit that you are that. And it looks like that'll come with the application period. You're going to have to do a disclosure of your full and part-time employees that they're looking at. That's where you're needing to get less than 25, and you need to have less than 25 full-time equivalent employees. I know there's lots of part-time workers, especially in small business. I mean, sorry, not especially small, especially in our retail world, because in restaurants. So full-time equivalent is an important thing. If anybody needs help doing that calculation, you can reach out to me. I have some information on that. And then your pre-application eligibility determination. So that's a good start. If you can within a day or two put your hands on all of these things, you're going to be ready to go to the next step, even if the City of Austin Loan Program does ask for additional things. Go ahead and pull this together so you're ready for that. So they're pre-application right now. So that's what's happening with that. I was also going to show real quick. They have a full website that's quite well done. BCL is amazing. They're doing a great job. They're also doing a whole bunch of outreach to try to get this out to people. And they have some very clear information here. And then they also have a really fantastic FAQ that has some, when I first read this, when I attended their training last week, like my first 3 questions are answered in their FAQ. And I have a question person. So whenever the FAQ answers my question, I'm always very impressed. And there's DID. So it talks a little bit about what if I'm incorporated here, but then my business is here, or what if I'm incorporated here, but I do all of my business, or all of the, the details about that. So that's at the bottom of this page. They're also available to answer any questions that you have. If you have any trouble getting in touch with someone, reach out to me. I have connections there and can help you either get these questions answered from the information session that I attended, or can help connect you with someone who's there. So just scrolling through this, and then, so that is, let me ask, are there any questions about this from any of you guys? Or see, do you have any questions that you feel like would be relevant to the AIBA's program when we are talking about using this as a key to unlock the city program? No? Okay. Okay. Oh, that's the best coffee. Okay, so that's what we have. So let's talk about what's happening with the city funding. So the Thrive program, again, is open. If you're in Travis County, yesterday is the day to apply for it, but the pre-application period is open until July, the first week of July. So sooner the better. Go ahead and get it done. If you have any questions about the application, trouble with the application process, reach out to me. There are resources. There's someone who can get on the phone with you right away and help you fill out the application, or can help you pull together some of those documents that are needed. And so what we're hoping for next is, we are called the Austin Independent Business Alliance and not the Travis County Independent Business Alliance. So what we're looking for next is for the Austin grant program to open. Last week, time is expanding and contracting, sorry, 2 weeks ago, the City Council did approve the resolution that brings the CARES funding in and then allocates it. We talked about that at the last coffee chat, and how it was allocated. Originally, we had about 23 million going to small business. That number did get reduced a little bit because there was such a great need for other programs to use it. Here we go. So there's such a great need for other programs to use it. So we're reduced to about 16 million. So we have about $16 million in funding that's going to go to the grant program that's going to support small businesses. I think, like I said, the small business grant program in Austin is going to look a lot like that one. So 25 or less full-time eligible employees, sole proprietorships are probably going to be available. Gig workers probably not. I don't know about the amounts of money, and I don't know about the revenue gate, but I would guess that it's going to be right about there. So if you're fitting in those categories, go ahead and pull that document list together and be ready to apply. I don't know if the City of Austin is going to do a pre-application period like this and do the invitation to apply and all the things that Travis County did, but I wouldn't be surprised. Hi, Rocky. You don't have to answer. I see you're on mute. It's good to see you. I'm glad you could join. So that's that. That's where we stand with funding. I expect to hear some pre-eligibility information next week for the City of Austin program. And then I really expect it to be live like very soon after that. I mean, very soon after that. I know there's a lot of people working really hard to get it out there. And some of the delay in both programs is a real concerted effort to not have a repeat issue of what we had with the PPP funding, where the PPP funding was really intended for a small business and like it was supposed to go there. Everybody who was voting on it thought it was going to go to this one place. And then the way that the requirements were written, like it kind of didn't go where everybody thought it was going to go. I mean, it was very helpful, I'm sure, to a lot of to a lot of businesses, but it didn't really hit the target if the target was those small business owners. And so really wanting these two programs to hit that target that got left out last time or wasn't eligible for the program. So the other thing that we were going to talk about is the move from, and we just have a few minutes left, the move from our stage 3 to stage 4, which happened over the weekend. I don't know that that is a huge surprise to anyone. I was feeling hopeful that we wouldn't do that. We knew from watching kind of just news reports that there was a lot more interpersonal contact over Memorial Day weekend. And so these numbers in new infected people and new hospitalizations are coming like exactly 2 weeks almost on the end of when we had a big holiday weekend. So I wish that that wasn't happening. But when we talk about those restrictions, we have two things that I wanted to mention. So I want to make sure that the business community is aware that we did move to stage 4 restrictions, and I will post the graphics that the City of Austin put out. They're very helpful in what does stage 3 look like? What does it look like when I'm a low risk individual? What does it look like when I'm a high risk individual? What does it mean for, can I go here? Can I go there? How many people can I gather with? Really, they're doing a great job of making the information easy to digest. What it means for businesses is there's a slight change where instead of if you're low risk that you can't, they're recommending that that consumers be able to go out as long as they take precautions, and stage 4 removes that recommendation. So there are no orders that say that you close your business, that you stop doing business. There's nothing that says that you can't still do kind of everything that you were doing as long as it's within these guidelines. We're still not gathering in large groups. Nobody's having concerts. Nobody's having happy hours or anything like that. The one thing that we have going on in Austin to, excuse me, to hopefully mitigate that, especially for our retail, restaurant, and cocktail businesses, is the Shop the Block program. And Sid, I know we've talked about this, so you're familiar with it. It's a pilot program that was put forth by Councilmember Poole's office that allows a retail business to, with a very quick permitting process, very low cost, very fast, to use the space outside of their shop so that we can like get out on the sidewalk and expand, so that if I have a tiny little retail shop that's selling, oh, Ben, I'm going to sell coffee cups for us. Okay. So if I have a tiny retail shop that sells coffee cups and I just have like a 10 by 20 space, if I want my employees to be 6 feet from other people and I want more than one customer to come in, that's 6 feet, like I'm done. I can have one person in there and then that's it. But if I can set up a table out on the sidewalk in front of there, or I'm selling vintage clothes, I can put a clothing rack out there. It lets people be able to see what I have to offer. They can interact with the wares that I have, or as a restaurant, they can, sit and have a cocktail, or they can order something, and they're ability to social distance from one another is greater. It also is letting us move some of that stuff outside. We know that outside is better than inside. So if I can go, shop for a new, go get me a new jacket, right? And I can do that outside. I'm more like willing to go do that than I am to go into a tiny store where, I'm wearing my mask and so that's a great program. It's is approved and up and running. So if anybody wants to apply for that, I'll put the link to the Shop the Block in here. Again, it's a quick permitting process, and they were working on, they weren't able to make it no fee because of some guidelines about how funding works that are a little above my head, but they're working on getting the fees just absolutely as low as possible. So the barrier to entry there was very small. Okay, I talked a lot. It's 10 o'clock. Does anybody have any questions at all? Rocky, I know you joined us late. I'm gonna send a link to the recording out so you can listen to the beginning part. I don't remember if you're incorporated in the city or in the county. But anyway, if you are incorporated in the county and you have questions about the Thrive program that we went over first, just do reach out to me. Otherwise, I think I'll let people go about their day, and I'm going to go call the assisted living facility and see if I can't make some stuff happen there. Does anybody have any questions at all?
No.
Like that your coworker seat is taking a bath right next to you.
Yeah.
It's nice of her to join us.
Yeah.
Again, I have this tiny dog who is here with me, and usually he barks his head off all the time. And every time I do one of these coffee chats, he's just totally quiet. Like he doesn't even, it's like he knows I'm online. He doesn't even. So Dali, I have your email address from your registration. I'll send the links out to this. And then if you have any questions about anything, I know we're just meeting each other now. So it's good to meet you face to face. You'll have my email address if you need anything. Reach out to me.
This was all very helpful. I'm sending it to 35 tenants today.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, same for them. So we do, AIBA is a membership organization. So we usually do a lot of like targeted support for what our membership needs. During the pandemic, we kind of opened up a lot of what we're doing. So anybody, until we're at the end of this, anybody who needs any assistance, have them reach out to me. We're doing everything we can. So our focus is locally owned businesses in Austin. That at least 51% of your membership live in the city of Austin, and you be incorporated here too. But again, we're doing everything we can to keep Austin, right? The threat with this kind of economic coma that we're in is to all of those small businesses, and those are that's what makes Austin cool. Like we have some amazing outdoor things. We have Barton Springs, and we have all of this incredible stuff. But when you have someone come visit you, like I know when people come to visit me in Austin, I'm like, ooh, where are we going? If I put that list together, it's a list of locally owned businesses, like all the funky cool people, and we want to keep the funky cool people here. So yeah, okay. So Ben, I'm going to send you a coffee cup. Got it. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you have a great Tuesday morning. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Dixie.
Oh, and Lee, you're welcome to invite them to the next one. We're going to do it every Tuesday for the rest of June, and maybe just continue until we get, oh, there's Rocky. Hi. I thought we were going to get to see your little baby. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me. Rocky and I have had children right at the same time, so our kids are like the same age as each other. So we're on the same amount of sleep, probably. Yeah, which is about much. Yeah, well, great. The whole thing. Okay, well, that's all we got for today. Thank you guys so much.